Hi, friends. This is your old pal, Papa Dale. I'm a retired pastor teacher and theologian professor, having served the Lord Jesus Christ for over 50 years. My name is Dale Warren, but my friends just call me Papa Dale. You can see the details on other videos on this channel about my personal life, my testimony, my family life, education, and ministry experience. So if you want to find out more about me, you can look there. In the meantime, let's take a look at the next topic for us to discuss. And this topic is the Song of Songs, or sometimes known as the Song of Solomon. Now, this is the JHI, the Jan Hus Institute, the BA in Biblical Literature, and it is the lecture for the Song of Songs, the lecture and the analytic for the Song of Songs. And we're off. So, the Song of Songs, found in the Old Testament, has been the subject of great fascination and debate for many centuries. Its poetic nature and rich in imagery offer profound insights into love, desire, and divine relationship. As we explore this text from an evangelical perspective, we will uncover its significance, its implications for Christian living, and how it fits into the broader narrative of Scripture. Now, the Song of Solomon is traditionally attributed to, King Solomon. He's known for his wisdom and contributions to biblical literature. The book is unique among the biblical texts as it consists of a series of poetic dialogues between two lovers. And this is often interpreted as a celebration of romantic and marital love. The authorship of the Song of Solomon is traditionally ascribed to Solomon himself, based on the opening verse, which says, quote, "The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's." The Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 1. This attribution suggests that Solomon, known for his poetic skill, was the author. The book's context reflects a rich tapestry of ancient Near Eastern culture, emphasizing the beauty and sanctity of love and marriage. Well, biblical archaeology significantly enhances our understanding of the Song of Solomon by providing cultural and historical context that deepens the interpretation of its imagery and themes. This book, often interpreted allegorically, is evangelical thought. Let me start that again. This book, often interpreted allegorically in evangelical thought, depicts a romantic and sensual relationship between a bride and groom, which can be better appreciated when considering the ancient Near Eastern customs and traditions. Now, I've read some who say that it is not a depiction of love between a bride and groom, but it is a depiction of sex between unmarried couple. So you make up your own mind about that. Now, archaeological findings such as inscriptions and artifacts related to ancient Israelite weddings and love poetry illuminate the symbolic language and cultural practices referenced in the text. For example, discoveries related to ancient bridal adornments and wedding songs enrich our comprehension of the song's rich imagery and metaphors. This context helps evangelical readers appreciate the text's celebration of love as a divine gift and its reflection on the covenant relationship between God and his people. By bridging the gap between ancient practices and modern interpretations, archaeology deepens our appreciation for the Song of Solomon and its spiritual and relational dimensions. Now, I want to go back and talk for a quick second about what I said, that some folks see this as a sexual relationship between unmarried people. You see this in the critical scholarship from skeptics and people who don't believe in biblical inspiration and so forth. But I'm not a skeptic. I do believe in biblical inspiration. I believe that God has provided the inspiration for everything in the text. And I don't think that God would include a Bible book that celebrates a sexual relationship between two unmarried people. I think that the relationship that's described is a holy relationship sanctified by marriage. So let's look at the human sexuality perspective. The Song of Solomon has long been the subject of debate regarding its primary intent. Is it a celebration of human sexuality or an allegory for a deep spiritual relationship with God? This debate reflects the diversity of interpretive approaches to the text. Let's explore both. The literary and cultural context. Well, supporters of this view argue that the Song of Solomon is a celebration of human love and sexuality, reflecting the cultural practices and the values of the ancient Near East. The book's vivid imagery and sensual language align with other ancient love poetry that extols romantic and physical relationships. 2. The textual evidence. The explicit and sensual nature of the text supports this interpretation, and the descriptions of physical attraction and desire, such as in Song of Solomon chapter 4, verses 1 through 5, where the beloved is described in detailed, intimate terms, suggests a focus on celebrating human love and sexuality. These verses include imagery of physical beauty and attraction, which some interpret as an endorsement of marital love and sexuality. Number 3, historical interpretation. Historically, many Jewish and early Christian scholars viewed the Song of Songs as a celebration of marital love. For example, the Jewish tradition includes it in the collection of the Megillot, which are read during Passover to celebrate love and fertility. Early Christian interpreters like Origen and Jerome also acknowledged the text's celebration of human love, even while they saw deeper spiritual meanings. Well, I'll just put my cards on the table here. Sexuality, right from the get-go, is nothing more than a physical representation, a poor, shadowy representation of what is available to us in the spirit life. The depth and breadth and satisfaction of a relationship with Yahweh, a relationship with other believers in Yahweh, is so wonderful and so satisfying that the closest thing in physical life that we have to be able to get a glimpse of what it's like is the wonder and the beauty and the pleasure of the human sexual experience. And this is true not just in Christianity, but pagan religions are based on this same principle. The idea of pagan religions is that the orgasm that occurs in the sexual experience is the closest physical experience that a human being can have to being near the divine. And so that's why in most all of the ancient temples, not the Jewish temples, but the ancient ungodly pagan temples, a big part of the celebration in their temples was sexuality, sexual orgies. That's why they had temple prostitutes, both male and female. And so, man, I wish I'd have gotten all of this in the notes. You're going to need to look at the video transcript if you're going to read through this in literary form. But anyway, this is why they also sacrificed the children that were born in these relationships on the altar of Moloch. This is why infant sacrifice was so prevalent among these same pagan peoples that worshipped and celebrated sex. And if you go to Europe, you go to Greece, you go to Rome, you go to Alexandria, you go to any of the great ancient cities and see the sculptures and the buildings and so forth, you're going to see phallic symbols, both male and female, all over the place. So anyway, let's move on here and let's discuss the idea of allegorical or spiritual perspective. Now, the typological interpretation. Many evangelical scholars and early church fathers, such as Augustine and Bernard of Clairvaux, interpret the Song of Solomon allegorically. They see the text as a metaphor for the relationship between Christ and the church, or the soul's relationship with God. For example, the beloved's longing for the lover's pursuit are viewed as representations of Christ's love for the church and the church's devotion to Christ. Spiritual lessons. This interpretation highlights the book's themes of longing, intimacy, and commitment as reflecting the believer's relationship with God. For instance, the Song of Solomon 8, verses 6 through 7, which speaks of love being as strong as death and unquenchable, is seen as illustrating the enduring and passionate love of God for his people. And the ecclesiastical tradition, this allegory view has been influential in Christian theology. The idea that the Song of Solomon is a spiritual allegory finds support in the writings of early church theologians who saw the book as depicting the deep personal relationship between God and his people. The text is often read in the context of spiritual devotion and divine love rather than merely physical attraction. Some modern interpretations attempt to bridge these perspectives, suggesting that the Song of Solomon can be understood on multiple levels. This approach recognizes the text's celebration of human love and sexuality, while also appreciating its deeper spiritual significance. This view allows for a holistic understanding of the book as both a celebration of marital love and a metaphor for divine love. The debate over whether the Song of Solomon is primarily a treatise on human sexuality or an allegory for a deep relationship with God reflects the richness and complexity of the text. Whether viewed as a celebration of human love or a profound spiritual allegory, the Song of Solomon offers valuable insights into both human and divine love. Its multifaceted nature allows for diverse interpretations and enriches our understanding of love, commitment, and spirituality. And, I just tend to discount the whole physical love aspect of this book of the Bible. Why? Because this book of the Bible was written essentially for adults, and essentially in the Hebrew culture, most men, by the time they're 25 or 30 years old, they marry young women, 15 years old or thereabouts, and they experience the pleasures of intimate sexual love, and they're well familiar with them. So we don't need a Bible book that extols the virtues of these sensual pleasures, because the men of the time were already experiencing those. But what we do need in a Bible book is to redirect our understanding of the importance of those sensual sexual experiences as representations of the kinds of experiences in terms of depth, quality, pleasure, and satisfaction that the human soul can have with the Father. So now let's look at some literary analytic points. The Song of Solomon can be divided into several key themes and sections. This has to do with its structure. 1. Love and desire. The primary theme is the intense, passionate love between the Shulamite woman and her beloved. This love is celebrated in vivid, sensual imagery and portrays both physical and emotional aspects of romance. For instance, in Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 2, the woman expresses her longing. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is better than wine. So this is the longing, the desire one person has for another in a sensual marriage relationship. And it's representative of the desire that the human soul would have towards God. Number 2, marriage and union. The book also highlights the sanctity and joy of marriage. It paints a picture of an ideal marital relationship where love and commitment are central. Song of Solomon, chapter 8, verses 6 through 7, captures this beautifully. Set me as a seal upon your heart, as a seal upon your arm, for love is strong as death, jealousy is fierce as the grave. And then we have point number 3, Christological interpretation. Many evangelical scholars see a typological connection between the Song of Solomon and Christ's relationship with the church. This interpretation views the love described in the song as a metaphor for Christ's deep, intimate love for his people. See Ephesians 5:25 through 27. This supports this view. Quote, husbands, love your wives, as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. I don't know why I don't have the Bible citation for that, but you should look that one up. And so then we move on to Hebrew idioms. Hebrew idioms are expressions that convey meanings different from their literal interpretations. The Song of Solomon is rich with idioms that, when understood in their cultural context, reveal deeper meanings about love, beauty, and relationships. These idioms paint vivid pictures that go beyond their literal meanings, allowing readers to connect emotionally and spiritually with the text. Here are 9 idioms found in the Song of Solomon. 1. His banner over me was love. This phrase signifies protection and commitment, much like a military banner symbolizes leadership and unity. Number 2, I am a rose of Sharon, a lily of the valleys. Song of Solomon 2:1. This idiom portrays beauty and uniqueness, comparing the beloved to rare and exquisite flowers. Number 3, we're talking about Hebrew idioms. Number 3, catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards. Here, foxes symbolize small problems or sins that can destroy a relationship if not addressed. Hebrew idiom number 4, my beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Song of Solomon 2, verse 9. This idiom emphasizes agility, strength, and desirability. Hebrew idiom number 5, your teeth are like a flock of sheep just shorn. Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 2. Comparing teeth to sheep suggests purity and cleanliness and order. Number 6, your neck is like the Tower of David, built with elegance. Song of Solomon 4:4. This expression conveys strength, dignity, and grandeur. Hebrew idiom number 7, your hair is like a flock of goats descending from the hills of Gilead. I find that funny. I wouldn't want to say that to my beloved. Your hair is like a flock of goats. She might say, oh, what, it stinks? No, it's like a flock of goats flowing down the mountainside, headed towards their pasture. It's a beauteous sight This idiom highlights the flowing, beautiful nature of the beloved's hair. Hebrew idiom number 8. Your eyes are the pools of Heshbon by the gate of Bath Rabbim. Song of Solomon 7 verse 4. This metaphor suggests depth, clarity, and allure. Hebrew idiom number 9. Your stature is like that of the palm, and your breasts are like clusters of fruit. Song of Solomon chapter 7 verse 7. Here the palm tree signifies grace, and the clusters of fruit symbolize fertility, abundance, and beauty. Hebrew idioms in the Song of Solomon provide a tapestry of symbolic language that enhances the poetic and allegorical nature of the book. They invite readers to delve deeply into the layers of meaning, enriching their understanding and appreciation of the Scriptures. So now we have the literary analytic point of literature types. The Song of Solomon is an intricate blend of various literature types that together create a profound exploration of love and commitment. Each type contributes uniquely to the book's message and its interpretive richness. The Song of Solomon encompasses various literature types, and here are some. 1. Poetic literature. The entire book is a poetic dialogue filled with metaphors and similes that express love and desire. Song of Solomon 1, verses 2 through 4. Wisdom literature. While not typical wisdom literature, the Song of Solomon shares insights on love and relationships that align with the wisdom tradition. Song of Solomon 8, verses 6 through 7. Then there is allegory literature. The book is often interpreted as an allegory of God's love for his people, for Christ's love for the church. See Song of Solomon 2, verse 16. And then love praise literature. It is a profound celebration of love, praising the physical and emotional aspects of the beloved. Song of Solomon 4, verses 1 through 5. And then there is didactic literature. Through its portrayal of love, it indirectly teaches about faithfulness, commitment, and the sanctity of marriage. See Song of Solomon 8, verses 6 through 7. The diverse literature types within the Song of Solomon, poetry, wisdom, allegory, love praise, and didactic, combine to form a multifaceted text that speaks deeply about human and divine love. Understanding these literature types helps readers appreciate the book's complexity and beauty. And then we have literary analytic points, the subtext of literary devices. Literary devices are the tools that bring the Song of Solomon to life, imbuing the text with rich meaning and emotional resonance. These devices work together to create a tapestry of poetic beauty and spiritual depth. Literary devices enhance the text's expressive power and emotional impact. And here are some key literary devices found in the Song of Solomon. And there are 9. Number 1, we have metaphor. The book is replete with metaphors, such as comparing the beloved's hair to a flock of goats. Song of Solomon 4:1. Number 2 is simile. Similes are used extensively, like comparing the beloved to a lily among thorns. Song of Solomon 2:2. Then there is imagery. Vivid imagery describes physical beauty and natural settings, creating a lush and sensual atmosphere. Song of Solomon 4, verses 3 through 5. And then we have symbolism. Many elements symbolize deeper meanings, such as gardens and vineyards, representing fertility and love. See Song of Solomon 4, 12 through 15. And then we have the literary type of repetition. Repeated phrases emphasize key themes, like Do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. See Song of Solomon 2:7, 3:5, and 8:4. And number 6 in these literary devices is parallelism. Hebrew parallelism enhances the poetic structure with synonymous, antithetical, and synthetic parallelism found throughout the Song of Solomon. Chapter 4, verse 1 through 7 is a good example. There is also the hyperbole. Exaggeration is used to express the intensity of love and admiration, such as the beloved's neck being like the Tower of David, Song of Solomon 4:4. And then there is the literary device of personification. Love is personified in various ways, creating a dynamic and engaging narrative, Song of Solomon chapter 8, verse 6. And then there's the literary device known as the apostrophe. We don't see this one as often as things like hyperbole. So, the apostrophe, what is that? The lovers often speak directly to each other or to inanimate objects, enhancing the intimacy and immediacy of their dialogue. See Song of Solomon 2, verses 10 through 13. Now, the Song of Solomon's literary devices, metaphors, similes, imagery, symbolism, repetition, parallelism, hyperbole, personification, and apostrophe, combine to enhance its poetic and allegorical power. They invite readers to engage deeply with the text and its multifaceted expressions of love. So are there any implications for Christian life? Well, from the evangelical perspective, there are several. Implication number 1, the celebration of love and marriage. The book celebrates the beauty and importance of love and marriage as designed by God. It affirms the value of a loving, committed marital relationship and encourages couples to nurture their bond. And in a spiritualization of that concept, one can only reflect on how beautiful and wonderful the relationship is going to be when we see our Lord. And so then we also have implication for modern life number 2, the reflection on divine love. The Song of Solomon can be seen as a reflection on the profound love that Christ has for the church. This understanding calls believers to appreciate the depth of their relationship with Christ and strive to live in response to his love. And then there is implication number 3, purity and commitment. The imagery of love and desire in the song also highlights the need for purity and commitment in relationships. It encourages believers to honor their relationships and approach them with respect and devotion. And the implication for modern life number 4, intimacy and vulnerability. The openness and intimacy expressed in the song reminds us of the importance of vulnerability in relationships. It encourages a deeper connection with one another and with God. And so there are favorite verses that evangelicals find in just love in the Song of Solomon. The first one is the Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 1, where it says, I am the rose of Sharon and the lily of the valleys. The second verse is Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 16. My beloved is mine, and I am his. There's a song. I am beloved, and he is mine. His banner over me is love. Yeah, so, moving on. Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 7. Thou art all fair, my love. There is no spot in thee. And Song of Solomon 5, verse 10. My beloved is white and ruddy, the chiefest among 10,000. And number 5, Song of Solomon, favorite verse, 6:3. I am my beloved's, and my beloved's is mine. And that's kind of a repeat of Song of Solomon 2:16. And then we have favorite verse, Song of Solomon 8, verse 7. Many waters cannot quench love, neither can the floods drown it. And so the Song of Solomon offers a rich tapestry of poetic expression and profound insights into love, marriage, and divine relationship. And from its celebration of romantic love to its typological connection with Christ's love for the church, it provides valuable lessons for Christian living. By appreciating its beauty and reflecting on its teachings, we can gain a deeper understanding of both human and divine love, and strive to embody these principles in our own lives. And this has been your old pal, Papa Dale, your host for the Song of Solomon's, or the Song of Songs, in the year 2024. Now, before I go on, let me just say that if you apply the reading of this book to human sexuality alone, I don't mind that you read it that way within the framework of marital love. That's fine. But the whole framework of marital love points to the relationship that the soul has with the Father, or that the church has with Christ. That's the whole point. Well, maybe not the whole point, but that's a huge part of it. That we reflect on the depth and the breadth and the wonder and the fulfillment and the joy and the satisfaction of the relationship between our soul and the soul of the God who created us. Marriage is a poor, shadowy reflection of that. The very best possible marriage is a poor, shadowy reflection of that. And so I would just encourage you to think on that. And so now, I need to remind you that if you are working for the Bachelor of Arts in Biblical Literature degree, you are required to read these notes in print. And that's it's just part of the repetitive nature of the training. And you can do that by watching the video transcript, which for this video, I think that you really ought to, because I really had a lot of asides and rabbit trails there that I think are valuable. But you can also read the lecture notes in the lecture notes section below the video and in the comment section below that. Now, also, each time there is a scripture citation in the lecture, you are supposed to look that up and read that as well. If it references an entire chapter two chapters or more, or an entire book, then you don't have to reread that. You're already expected to read the book through twice before you move on to the next book. So, but if it is a single chapter and or verses within a single chapter, read that. Okay, so Lord willing, your old pal Papa Dale will return with another lecture shortly. And before I get to that, I will be spending some time apart from you. And part of that time, I will be praying for you that you will be well and that you will be blessed.